Hey friend, my name is Ion and welcome to my Start Animating YouTube channel. The channel that is specifically aimed at everyone that is new to animation, and if that is you, welcome, you are at the right place. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and also click on that little notification bell so that you can get notified every week when I upload a brand new video. Now today I'm going to share with you probably one of the most important animation skills that you can develop, and no one talks about it. And if you develop this skill, you will improve drastically as an animator. And it's probably one of the most fun skills to learn as well. And that is to develop animation eye. Okay, so what do I mean about that? Well, basically, you study animation, you watch animations, and that's why it's probably the most fun skill to learn. And you study animations and you see what are other animators doing, and then you ask yourself, why are they doing it? So that you kind of understand the thought process of other animators. And to give you an example, what happened to me when I just started, I didn't know what the 12 principles of animation was, but there's certain things that I've picked up in other animations. So for example, if a character wants to punch someone else, they always go back and then punch. So that back, you always add that into a character when you punch someone. But that is actually called anticipation. Now, back then, I didn't know it is called anticipation. I didn't know any of the 12 principles of animation. But because I saw it in other animations, I started copying that, and I started to do that because everyone else is doing it. And only later on, when I learned the 12 principles of animation, I realized, okay, so that is what it is. That's why they are doing it. So that's why it's so important to develop an animation eye so that you can look at other animations and you can spot things that they are doing. And the other reason why this is so important is if you are animating yourself, then it is much easier for you to spot problems in your animation. Something doesn't look right, or it needs something. What does it need? Maybe it needs anticipation. Maybe it needs a bit more squash and stretch. Maybe it needs an arc. Maybe your object needs to move in a different way, in a more of an arc, etc. So when you develop an animation eye, it is so much beneficial for you. You solve a lot of problems and you'll be able to create better looking animations. And like I say, the only way you can develop an animation eye is if you study other animations. So today we are going to look at Disney's Once Upon a Studio video. I'm not going to go through the entire video, otherwise we're going to be here for a very long time. And then obviously I'm just going to remove the sound. We're just going to look at the animation, and then I'm sure, just for copyright reasons, this video is for educational purposes, so I'm sure that we are protected with the free use law. So but if this video is being removed, then we know why. But hopefully, thumbs up or holding thumbs that Disney won't remove this video, because we're just going to study what they do and we're going to use their video as an educational purpose. Okay, so I haven't prepared. I'm going to go through this with you guys. So I haven't gone through this video. I've watched it before, but I haven't studied it. So I'm going to watch this video now and going to almost respond to it and see what I see. And then feel free in the comments below. If you see something, leave it in the comments. Let's see, how many things do you pick up? But not just pick up, also provide a reason why you think Disney is using that technique, or why are they doing what they're doing. So again, feel free to leave your comments down in the comments below. So let's press play again. I've just muted the audio, so we're just going to focus on the animation. Okay, so the first thing I've noticed is when Tink flew in, she didn't just flew in from through the corridor to the painting where Mickey is. She flew around, so that created a lot of arcs in her movement. Yes, if she just flew from the corridor right there, it is um, it is simple. It is an arc, but it's not interesting. So they've added more arcs, and it's also adds some appeal. It looks better on screen because it just looks more magical. So that is one thing. That's the first thing that I've picked up. Okay, so here's a question. Okay, so let's just move this back a little bit. When Mickey flew out of the painting, he floats in the air a little bit before he lands. So my question is, why? Why doesn't he just normal go out and land? Why does he float and then go down? So again, a little bit of an arc, but I think you can also say exaggeration. So there's a this is like a question you'll have to ask yourself. Okay, why did the Disney character animators do that? Um, so let's continue. And there it happens again. If she When she goes out, you can see she also floated in the air for a while and then went down. So it's very interesting why the animators did that. And there, this guy, he went straight down. So they did it differently with him. So is it maybe with her dress? It They wanted the dress to give a floating um, feel to her. Maybe for him, it fits his character and his personality. That could also be um, something. So it's very interesting when you start asking questions. Why do they do things? And he also floated for a while. Did you see? Now you can see again, Bambi didn't run in a straight line. She ran in a like an arced path. She didn't just run straight. Look at her. And here there is an anticipation pose. As you can see, before he flies. There. Anticipation and he flies. And then again a lot of arcs. There's anticipation poses. There's a little bit of a squash and stretch. You can see a lot of stretch. But look when Flounders, I think the fish's name is Flounders, drops in her hand. So here you can see they've added some squash and stretch to Donald's stretch, squash. So that's also very interesting how they use squash and stretch to amplify his emotion. So that's quite interesting. Another arc with that character.
Oh, but has oh. Don't ring him.
So there's a bit of a squash, stretch with Mickey's face. So it's interesting to see how they use squash and stretch to provide emotion. There's a bit of stretch.
What's better?
So one thing you can pick up, there's a lot of arcs in the animation. There's a lot of circular movement. And I think it's to add to the magical feel to it. So that is something that I've also picked up. So again, some squash and stretch. Normal, stretch, squash. Now you'll see Goofy, there's a lot of arc movements with Goofy here. So you'll have to ask yourself, they've used arcs for magical movement, but now they're using arcs also for clumsy. So it's very interesting how they can use squash and stretch for emotions, for movement. They can use arcs for to create a mood like being clumsy or magical. So it's quite interesting to see how they use different things to get different results. So that is quite interesting. And then again floating in the air and then drops. Your lips, Max. So you can see how she moved in an arc right there. It's almost like she moved into the movement. Is a sister. sis, si, si, u, u, e, si, so I think that's it for this video. So basically, you kind of get the idea what you need to do. You watch animations and you study it. I'm sure there's so many things that you guys picked up that I didn't pick up right now, but a few things: how some characters will float in the air before falling, others will fall immediately. Then you'll have to ask yourself, why do they do that? Some arcs are used for different reasons. Some arcs are used to create a magical feel, other arcs is to create a clumsy feel. Then also squash and stretch. They use squash and stretch to provide different emotions. So it is very interesting how they use the 12 principles of animations to create different moods and yeah, for different reasons. And so this is one of the skills that you as an animator, especially a new animator, need to develop. You watch animations and you study it, and you always ask yourself, okay, why are they doing this way? Why are they doing it like this? And then you'll if you watch more animations and you study them more, you're going to pick up on a lot more, and you're going to start to incorporate those things that you've learned into your own animations. And again, like I've mentioned earlier, if you watch an animation there, or if you're busy with an animation, then it is much easier to pick up on things that, okay, this animation is missing something. And because of you've trained your animation eye, it is much easier to pick up on problems with your own animation and what it needs to fix those issues. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you are new to animation, this week we are currently busy with my ICLONE 5-day training camp. But if you want to start 3D animation and you've never animated before, you're a complete beginner, then this training course is for you. I'll put a link in the description below. It is a 5-day training camp, and you work alongside with me, and by the end of the 5 days, you would have created your very own short animated clip. And that is the perfect foundation for any animator, because you have animated something, and what you've learned, you can now easily just go and create your own animations. And if you develop your animation eye, you'll also know how to improve your own animations, etc. So in the description box below, there's a link. Just click there and sign up. I hope to see you at our next training camp. It is, like I say, if you want to learn 3D animation and you've never animated before, that training, 5-day training, is perfect for you. So guys, I hope to see you next week with another video. So from me, God bless and happy animating.